Well, it's Christmas Eve, and everyone's wishing for luck this time of year, right? Like finding that perfect last-minute gift or getting a parking spot at the mall when it's packed.
Yeah, it's interesting how we think of luck as something outside of our control.
Totally. But what if we could actually make our own luck?
I like that.
Not by magic or anything, but by being strategic.
Yeah, like playing the odds.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So instead of relying on four-leaf clovers, we're diving into this idea of smart luck.
I'm listening.
It's about understanding how to maximize our chances of success.
I like where this is going.
It's not about changing what happens to us, but about how we respond.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the best part, there's actually science to back this up.
Oh, really?
One study found that people who use these smart luck strategies felt way luckier.
Wow, so we really can influence our luck.
It seems like it. So let's break down these strategies.
Okay, that's good.
The first one is all about maximizing chance opportunities.
Okay, I've heard of that.
I used to think it was just about being extroverted, going to every networking event, shaking hands with everyone.
Right.
But it's actually more about putting ourselves out there in a way that feels authentic.
So it's not about forcing ourselves to be someone we're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if you're not naturally outgoing, you can still create more opportunities.
That's a relief. So how do we do that?
Well, I'm kind of introverted myself,
Oh, me too, actually.
but I found that even small changes can make a difference.
Like what?
Recently, I started taking a pottery class, completely unrelated to my work.
Interesting.
And I've met some amazing people there, had conversations I never expected.
Wow, so you stepped outside your comfort zone and it paid off.
It did. And it's not about forcing yourself into uncomfortable situations.
Right, it should be enjoyable.
It's about finding activities you genuinely enjoy that also involve other people.
So maybe like finding that sweet spot where your passions and your social life intersect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our next strategy, listening to lucky hunches.
Oh, interesting.
Those gut feelings, but is it just a feeling or something more?
Well, we often dismiss intuition as mystical, but it's actually much more grounded.
Really? So how do you explain it?
It's our brain picking up on subtle patterns and cues that our conscious mind misses.
So it's not random. It's based on something.
Right, it's like a subconscious form of expertise.
So our experiences and knowledge influence it.
Exactly. It's our subconscious mind recognizing patterns.
But it probably works best in areas where we already have some experience, right?
Exactly. If you're venturing into something totally new, your gut feeling might not be as reliable.
Okay, so it's about recognizing when to trust that intuition.
And when to maybe seek more information.
I've definitely learned that ignoring my gut feeling can lead to missed opportunities.
I hear that. Sometimes those hunches need a little nudge, though.
In what way?
It's not always a sudden epiphany, but about connecting the dots, anticipating possibilities.
Like having foresight, right?
Absolutely. Seeing those connections, even if they're unexpected.
It reminds me of Alexander Fleming discovering penicillin.
Oh, yeah, the moldy petri dish.
He saw the potential in something that others might have dismissed,
Exactly. It's about being open to those unexpected possibilities.
even if they don't seem fortunate at first.
Right. And that leads us to our next strategy.
Expect good fortune, right?
It sounds like something on a motivational poster.
It does, doesn't it? But there's actually research to back it up.
Really? I'm skeptical, but tell me more.
It's about the power of belief and a positive mindset.
So you're saying a rabbit's foot won't magically change things?
Probably not, but optimism and confidence can actually improve our performance.
So it's not about ignoring reality.
No, it's about approaching challenges with the belief that we can overcome them.
Like going into a job interview believing you're the perfect candidate.
Exactly. That shift in attitude can be powerful.
So it's not just about faking confidence. It's about genuinely believing in ourselves.
Exactly. And it's not about denying the existence of bad luck.
Right, because bad things definitely happen. It's about acknowledging those setbacks, but not letting them define us.
Which brings us to our final strategy. Turn bad luck to good.
Ah, yes, the classic make lemonade saying.
But how do we actually apply that in real life? When things go wrong, it's easy to get discouraged.
This strategy is all about resilience.
Okay, I like that.
It's about reframing challenges as opportunities.
So instead of dwelling on the misfortune,
Or we focus on what we can learn from it.
so it's not why me, but what can I learn from this?
Exactly. And how can we prevent similar situations in the future?
It's a powerful shift in perspective, turning a negative into a positive.
It is, and sometimes it takes a little effort to get there.
I bet. And speaking of tools,
Yes?
you mentioned something about a serendipity journal earlier.
I did. It's a great way to start understanding the patterns of our luck.
Both good and bad.
Right, exactly. We can dive into that more after a short break. Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about this serendipity journal idea.
Yeah, I'm really curious about it.
It's about going deeper than just listing lucky or unlucky events.
Okay, so more than just a gratitude journal.
Exactly. You really dig into what led up to those moments.
Like playing detective with your own luck.
Exactly. You're tracing those breadcrumbs back.
So how would I actually use this journal? What do I write?
Well, imagine you have a really positive encounter that you weren't expecting.
Okay, so something good happens out of the blue.
Right. You write down what happened and then think about what you did before.
So like, did I do something that led to this good thing?
Exactly. Did you step out of your comfort zone? Did you follow your gut?
Oh, interesting. And if something bad happens, I analyze that too.
Absolutely. You'd ask yourself, did I miss any warning signs?
Or maybe I'll let fear hold me back.
Right. By looking at those patterns, you start to see the connections.
The connections between my actions and what happens to me.
Exactly. So let's say you notice that saying yes to last-minute things always leads to good things.
Then I might start being more spontaneous, even if it feels a little scary.
Exactly. But on the other hand, if you see that procrastinating always leads to disaster,
Yeah, maybe I need to manage my time better.
it's about recognizing those patterns and making changes.
This reminds me of that maximize chance opportunities strategy we talked about.
Absolutely. The journal can help you create more of those lucky moments.
So it's not just about waiting for good things to happen, it's about making them happen.
Exactly. It helps you see what's working and what's not.
And what about those lucky hunches? Could the journal help with that too?
Definitely. You can track when your intuition was right and when it was wrong.
Oh, that's a good idea. So I can see what situations make my gut feelings more reliable,
Exactly. Like maybe you notice your intuition is great for creative decisions.
but not so much for financial stuff.
Right. So you learn to trust your gut more in certain areas.
This is amazing. It's like I'm taking control of my own life.
That's the idea. You're not just letting fate decide everything.
It can be a little scary to realize that, though.
It can, but it's also empowering.
Knowing that I have the power to shape my own future.
Exactly. It opens up so many possibilities.
It's like we're shifting from hoping for the best to creating the best.
I love that. And the journal helps guide that process.
It helps you see where you might be holding yourself back.
Exactly. Are there any patterns that always lead to bad outcomes?
Once you see those, you can start making different choices.
It's like rewiring your brain for success.
This whole idea of turning luck on its head is fascinating.
It is. It's about taking control.
It's not what happens to me, but what I make happen.
And remember, it's not about being perfectly lucky all the time.
Because that's impossible.
It's about having the tools to handle those inevitable setbacks.
So even when bad things happen, we can still come out on top.
Exactly. It's about resilience and using those experiences to grow.
This whole conversation has been so insightful.
I'm glad. It's a new way of thinking about luck.
And a really empowering one, especially as we head into the holidays.
It is a time for connection, reflection, and maybe even trying out these new strategies.
I like that. Speaking of trying things out,
Yes.
I'm ready to hear some specific tips for putting these strategies into action. Okay, so we've covered the theory, but how do we actually use these smart luck strategies in our everyday lives?
Well, it's one thing to understand the concepts, but putting them into action is key.
Right, so let's get practical.
Exactly. Let's start with maximize chance opportunities.
Okay, so we talked about expanding our social circles.
Right, but for those of us who aren't exactly social butterflies.
Yeah, I'm not exactly a party animal.
Me neither. But think about your interests.
Okay, so like, what do I enjoy doing?
Exactly. Could you join a book club? A hiking group?
Or a cooking class? I've always wanted to learn how to make pasta from scratch.
There you go.
Oh.
Or volunteering for a cause you're passionate about.
Oh, that's a good idea. It's not just about meeting people, it's about making a difference.
And it doesn't have to be formal events.
You mean like just striking up conversations
Well,
with people?
exactly. At the coffee shop, the grocery store, wherever.
I can do that. It's those small interactions that can lead to something bigger.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about how many people you know.
It's about the quality of those connections.
Absolutely. Nurture those relationships, stay in touch, offer support.
So it's like planting seeds.
I like that analogy. You never know which ones will grow into something meaningful.
Okay, what about listen to lucky hunches? Any tips for tuning into that inner voice?
Start by paying attention to those gut feelings you have.
Those moments when you just know something, even if you can't explain it.
Exactly. And think about those times when your intuition was right and also when it was wrong.
What was happening in those situations? Were there any patterns?
Right. It's about recognizing those patterns.
So the more we use our intuition, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. It's like a muscle.
I like that.
Yeah.
And it's okay to start with small decisions.
Absolutely. Maybe it's choosing which book to read or which route to take home.
Those little things help build confidence in our intuition.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about being impulsive.
It's about combining that gut feeling with our logical mind.
Right. It's finding that balance.
Okay, now for expect good fortune.
Mhm.
How do we stay optimistic without being unrealistic?
It's about acknowledging that challenges will happen.
Because life isn't always sunshine and rainbows.
But it's about focusing on our ability to handle those challenges.
So instead of feeling like a victim,
We choose to see ourselves as capable and resourceful.
it's a shift in perspective.
Yeah, exactly. It's about believing in our ability to create positive outcomes.
So it's not just about positive thinking, it's about positive action.
Exactly. It's about taking control.
And that leads us to our final strategy. Turn bad luck to good.
Ah, yes. Turning lemons into lemonade.
But how do we do that when we're in the middle of a tough situation?
Instead of asking, why me? Ask, what can I learn from this?
Oh, that's good. It's about finding the lesson in the experience.
Exactly. And how can we use this experience to make better choices in the future?
So even those difficult moments can help us grow.
Absolutely. It's about resilience and using those setbacks to our advantage.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening. It's like a whole new way of thinking about luck
It is. It's about taking ownership of our own luck.
and realizing that we have more power than we think.
Exactly. We can create our own opportunities, navigate challenges, and ultimately shape our own destinies.
So it's not about wishing for luck. It's about making our own luck.
And I think that's a really empowering message, especially during this time of year.
Absolutely. It's a time for hope, for new beginnings, and for embracing all that life has to offer.
Well said. And on that note, I want to thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into smart luck.
And from all of us here, we wish you a happy and lucky holiday season.